happy Monday. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Levinobi, and it's been a minute. Y'all, it's been like a week since we sat down and did a live show together. You guys know why if you've been watching the show. If you don't know why, my grandmother has been in the hospital. Thank you guys so much for your kind words. She's been through a roller coaster the past 2 weeks. She's still on the roller coaster, but hopefully we're coming towards the end soon where my girl gets to go home. So I've been dealing with that. I've been in Florida. I'm here at least for a few days now to, put the work in. It's Labor Day, but we're going to put the work in today, okay? And you guys missed, or I missed at least, the fact that I was on Jubilee Middle Ground debating plastic surgery versus natural beauty, which is not a subject matter that I delve into too much on this show. We've talked about it a few times. We have a couple videos about this subject where I'm sort of talking about the incline we're on as far as interventions when it comes to beauty and cosmetics. And Jubilee decided to invite me on to debate on the natural beauty end of this against people who were pro-plastic surgery, which is going to be interesting. So I'm going to watch it today, react to it with you guys, and I'll tell you a bit of the behind the scenes information, maybe things that got cut, this, that, and the other. Today, we are going to get straight into it. Taylor's not here today, by the way, guys. Sorry. We would play our normal applause, but Taylor is not here. So unfortunately, we can't have that. He'll be back, hopefully on Wednesday this week, assuming all goes well and I don't have to fly back to Florida. But again, without further ado, let's get into today's Jubilee video and watch.
I know a girl who got a chin implant, changed her whole face, like crazy.
No matter how much cosmetic surgery you receive, you're thinking of little things you can change about your body constantly.
Why does somebody else changing their face bother somebody who's happy with themselves?
Okay. Hey. Dude, by the way, these are so awkward to film because you're in a silent, sort of soundstage area, and you're all mic'd up and everything, and they just have you strut down to the middle of the room. You have to stare dead into the camera and smile or do whatever it is you're gonna do, and then walk off. And when I tell you that is not my thing, it's not my thing, but we did it. We muscled through.
I'm Ka Takahashi, and I'll be moderating this episode of Cosmetic Surgery versus Natural Beauty.
The man, the myth, the legend, Ka Takahashi. I've been on many a Jubilee video, but I've never met Ka, so we got that out of the way. He was super nice.
The first prompt is, cosmetic surgeries should be as normalized as makeup. Can the agreeers step forward?
I kind of see a lot of cosmetic surgery as kind of high maintenance to be low maintenance type of thing. So girls who are overlining their lips every day, just get some lip filler, get the, the Botox or anything. I mean, it kind of starts with makeup, the girls who are putting on the makeup every day before school when they get a little more money in their pockets and they get a little older and get a little freedom. Yeah, those are probably the girls that are a little more inclined to want to get stuff done. It's a little more severe to go under the knife than to wear makeup, but I mean, it's something that happens every day. It's LA, and I just don't think people talk about it because it's so taboo.
Originally, the prompt said surgery, and I don't think surgery should be normalized, but then you started talking about
Botox,
yeah, lasers, skincare products. Friends and acquaintances that I know who also are aging gracefully. Somebody gave them the secret when they were in their 20s. Our collagen starts going to shit at 25. So if you're not doing things that boost the collagen in your skin at the age of 25, you're gonna be playing catch up at some point.
Okay. Pause. Let's talk about it. First of all, I know the plastic surgeon in this video, and some of you guys were commenting on Jubilee is there something going on between the plastic surgeon and Amla because they keep looking at each other, or when I'm talking, she's looking at me or whatever, in I guess not a strange way, but in a familiar type of way. I know Sheila, and I met her back in the day through working at PragerU. I won't say any more details than that because that's really all you need to know. But yeah, super nice lady. Of course, we disagree on our stances for this topic, but when I'm talking about this specifically with cosmetic surgeries and being as normalized in makeup, I don't know. Obviously, I don't think it should be normalized for you to go in and change your body, and it's becoming more normalized as we move through society and as these things become more accessible. And I say that as somebody who's wearing makeup, which, by the way, Jubilee, I'm gonna have a bone to pick with you if you cut out my comments about this, because I read another comment that was like, how can Amal be on the natural beauty side and she's wearing makeup? And in this video, I hope they keep the clip in. I say this as somebody who's wearing makeup right now, and I can admit that a large part of the reason that I wear makeup is because of my own personal insecurities about the way that I look, wanting to be more symmetrical, wanting to have, you know, a better looking face than the one that you wake up to every day in the mirror. Although makeup is a little less invasive than cosmetic surgery, the basic principle is the same. You're trying to alter your face in order to present something that is different to who you are, you know, without anything touching your face and without anything cosmetic going on. So do I think cosmetic surgery should be as normalized as makeup? No, I don't think makeup should be as normalized as makeup is, and I say that as somebody who wears it.
If there's something that you could have done, like regular exercise or stretching every day to help you age better, why not do that for your appearance if it's simple, safe, and you're doing it with a trusted physician?
But surgeries, you would say, that should not be normalized.
I don't think it should be normalized, but I'll give you an example. This is gonna sound crazy, but go with me. So I had a girl brought in by her mom for a labiaplasty. And I was ready to walk in the room and be like, are you freaking crazy? Like, what are you thinking bringing in your daughter for a labiaplasty? And I walked in and this girl had a normal labia on one side. And on the other side, she had a labia as long as my finger hanging out. When she was at the YMCA, it would fall out of her bathing suit. She was getting teased by her friends. And she said, Mom, I do not want to go into high school with this thing hanging out of my vagina. I did it awake. It took me 15 minutes to give her a normal anatomic labia that matched her other side. So should we normalize access to feel your best? Absolutely.
Okay. Now, here's an issue that we're going to run into in some of the examples that are used throughout this debate. That is a very extreme example of a cosmetic procedure, and it is in no way, you know, indicative of what is happening with cosmetic surgeries, how abundant they're becoming, and for reasons far less reasonable than what was just described of a young girl receiving a labiaplasty. And it's different if you have bodily anatomy that is impairing functioning, like impairing your functional life, meaning that if you're wearing a bathing suit and your, you know, private area is being exposed to people who are not supposed to be seeing that, it's uncomfortable, it's creating functional problems with you as you are trying to live a normal life, that's a wholly reasonable example of going out and getting cosmetic surgery in order to fix an affliction that you're dealing with. But that's not the same as somebody saying, I feel like I want a bigger ass and I want to look like Meg Thee Stallion, so I'm going to go get 3 BBLs and risk a pulmonary embolism, or I want, you know, H breasts and I'm going to go get these huge implants placed in my body. It becomes a scenario where it's no longer about function. It's no longer about leading a healthy life. It's actually doing unhealthy things for the body as a means of looking more attractive or trying to sort of satiate your own insecurities. And we can talk about where those insecurities come from and why society sort of lends itself to that idea, but it's way different than a young girl getting a labiaplasty because it is causing functional problems for her and putting herself in very uncomfortable positions where her privates are being shown to people who should not ever be seeing that.
Bring the disagreeers in.
I think plastic surgery shouldn't be demonized, but it also shouldn't be normalized totally, completely either. In that way, stealth can also be quite dangerous for people because people are dishonest about the work they get done, and they give this unrealistic beauty standard. I didn't know a lot of girls had BBLs when they were selling workout plans, things like that.
Totally.
BBLs.
Yeah, Brazilian butt lift.
She is so sweet, by the way. I met her before we ended up filming, and she was just the sweetest soul, and I think people caught on to that in watching this as well.
Which is what I have two of.
Okay.
I don't think plastic surgery is wrong. The little girl you're talking about, like, we can all imagine what that would be like, having some kind of abnormality in your body, or if you have a cleft lip, or something that makes you feel so othered. I can understand that. My issue with the idea of normalizing surgery, you have young girls. When you're 18, you get to decide if you're willing to take on the risk. 18-year-olds don't really know anything. I don't want a society that tells young women especially, you need to change these things about yourself surgically.
So I think it's very important that we make a
distinction?
Yes, there we go. We got it. It was there. Between makeup and surgery, because that was the prompt, right? I even faced troubles when I was doing certain surgeries, right? And I had to redo things. And I think once you go down that slope and that route, it goes into like another tunnel, like a tunnel. You know what I'm saying? Makeup, it's something that's so easy we can take it off, we can put it on. So that's the only reason why I disagreed. I don't think it should be as normalized as makeup because it's just two totally different ball games.
I completely agree with you, and to a certain extent, I would say, looking at like the
I hate hearing myself. Oh my goodness.
makeup industry, makeup in a lot of ways is a little bit too normalized, so I don't think I would want to take that a step further. And if we're normalizing makeup, which in a lot of ways there are women and men who can throw on makeup and it changes the entire shape of their face, and you take it off and it's a completely different person underneath. Surgery does that in a more permanent, invasive way. The goal is to move away from alteration of the self, of the person, and move towards, acceptance.
So alteration of self.
So I feel like that was the point. I can't remember because this was obviously filmed a very, very long time ago, but I think that was the point where I said, and I say that as somebody who's wearing makeup right now, and I know why I wear makeup. And hopefully it shows up later in this video, but if I said that and you cut that out, Jubilee, and left me to hang on that subject, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you.
Self and permanency are two things that you brought up. Would you apply the same to tattoos and piercings?
Yes, and I say that as a person who has tattoos, and in a lot of ways I look down and I think about myself and I go, why did I feel the need to change this, person
Because
that I
was. Your
was?
self-expression, though, what you wanted to visualize.
Yeah, I think it was a convinced self-expression, and we talk about aging, and the phrase age gracefully was used. When I think about aging gracefully, I think about somebody who is looking at the wrinkles on their face and going, oh, that was a laugh that I had back when I was, 23. This mark that I have on my stomach is from my child who's now in his 30s. Why don't we view that as aging gracefully? Why is there no grace in accepting the wrinkles?
One wrinkle or seeing a little mark on your belly is not what these women are coming in for. I've had patients who are so blown out in their abdomen that you can see their intestines moving under their skin after they've had 4 children.
Sure. Okay, so here we go again with functional examples that are no longer making your quality of life, up to a certain standard, and a standard that I would hope, we can uphold through medicine and even through cosmetic surgery if needed. When I said what we call aging gracefully, I mean people with wrinkles all over their face. I'm talking about the oldest of old, the youngest of young, and the way that we transition from that period to the next. Why do we say aging gracefully about women who age without wrinkles? I know there's this photo of Angelina Jolie at some recent event that's going around, and they're talking about how beautifully she's aged. She's aged like fine wine, all these different things. And of course, it's a slew of cosmetic procedures that get you to that end result where you are older, but you still look like your younger self, and we view that as aging gracefully instead of looking at women who age naturally. That comes with all the wrinkles and the sagging and the loose skin and all these different things, and we somehow don't call that aging gracefully. So in order to age gracefully, you have to submit yourself to cosmetic procedures, and you have to sort of run from the natural reality that is what happens to your skin as your skin lives on this earth. To me, it doesn't make sense to reward that all that much, because it builds in this idea that both women and men, more so women than men, we know that for a fact, have to run away from the natural processes that their body is going through. And that's why we see young girls in their 20s who are now showing up to clinics and injecting their faces with Botox and filler, some of them calling it preventative Botox. So I think we need to change the way we talk about things, especially like aging gracefully. I mean, hopefully we all age gracefully, and we get the privilege to be able to live to an age where our skin is, loosening and wrinkling and all these things, and we shouldn't feel such an anxiety towards what is the reward of living on the earth long enough to have wrinkles in your skin. Now, she uses the example of a blown out abdomen due to pregnancy. That's a whole different example. And again, we've leaned on 2 very extreme examples, the labiaplasty and the blown out abdomen due to pregnancy. And I can guarantee that it's not the majority of patients who are going out and seeking cosmetic surgery.
So is that okay now? Or maybe there's like this one definitive spot where like this is okay, but this is not, in the non-plastic surgery. Who determines that?
Yeah.
You don't want to demonize the plastic surgeon. You don't want to demonize the plastic surgery. You don't want to set arbitrary posts for when it's okay and when it's not okay, or how bad it is before you do it, or how bad it's impossible.
And I think another place where we sort of get confused in this debate is that somebody who's advocating for natural beauty or standing on the side of natural beauty is somehow trying to demonize those who get plastic surgery, or is trying to tell them what they should or should not do with their bodies. It's not necessarily that. It's more of like a philosophical discussion about the alteration of the body and about whether or not it's the sign of a healthy society. In my view, a healthy society is one that allows everybody to age through and age gracefully with the loose skin and the wrinkles and the crow's feet and all these different things without putting some sort of sense of impending doom in young women in particular, that as soon as they get wrinkles or as soon as they start to look as though they've aged, they've somehow lost all value as human beings. And again, it's easier said than done. I don't know that we're ever going to reach a point in society where that is the belief set of the majority of people. But we can talk about it and give our thoughts on it without it being this idea that we're demonizing people who get plastic surgery or telling them what or what not to do. People can make up their own minds, make their own choices.
Insecurities.
Okay, next.
The cosmetic surgery industry exploits people's insecurities. Wow, we all agree. Okay.
When you have trends where all of these women are getting the exact same boob job, the exact same lips, or the exact same nose, it's almost impossible to deny that insecurities are being put onto people.
Imagine that the plastic surgery / cosmetic surgery realm would naturally not exist if it weren't for insecurity, and if we could somehow alleviate that pressure that women in particular feel quite often, then it would be an industry that would be going out of business.
I disagree with that. I mean, I'm a plastic surgeon, and I think that the answer is yes and no. Similarly to maybe fashion. Also, is that also, push-up bras? Is that also a terrible thing? The analogy that I always give is, if you're going to go buy a couch, you can go buy a paisley couch. You can do that. That might be the
Push-up bras it's strange. It is a strange thing that we do. It is a strange thing to look at your body, look at something that you do not have, and say, how can I put on something fake to make it look like I do have those things? It's the same with makeup. It's the same with really any alteration that we're making. It is a strange thing to do if we really boil it down and think about it long enough, in my opinion. But just because something is normalized or it's becoming destigmatized doesn't mean that there's not something a little strange about the fact that that's where we're at right now as far as changing the body.
the trend. Or you can buy a neutral couch and change your pillows. So I'm the type of plastic surgeon that always promotes a neutral couch, and you can change your clothes, as trends come and go, but you want to keep your body healthy, natural looking, a very neutral canvas, and then you can play with it. You can have fun with it.
And we must acknowledge that push-up bras and makeup are things that come off the body at some point, and these cosmetic surgeries are permanent. Some of them are reversible, but permanent alterations.
As far as insecurities go, if a woman has 4 children and her stomach's completely blown out, her breasts are hanging down to here, can't even show your waist, she feels so insecure that she hasn't slept with her husband in 2 years, should we just tell her to learn to love her body, or should we do a 4-hour procedure in a healthy woman who's a mother who wants to feel like, hey, I want to be in a bikini again. I want to have intimate relations with my husband again, and not be thinking, oh, is he touching flab here?
Yeah.
Oh, does my breast not look normal?
Do you feel like
Okay. I'm going to keep pausing this a million times because I have so many thoughts, but there is a practicality to cosmetic surgery and cosmetic procedures. There's no doubt about it. Life is a lot better in a lot of ways for people who are more attractive. Everybody deals with insecurities, and some of us make the judgment that to wipe away those insecurities through cosmetic surgery is better for us than to deal with our insecurities and to tackle our insecurities head on. I just think, we can acknowledge the practicality of these things. We can acknowledge that it's not fun to be unattractive. It is not fun to feel unattractive. It is not fun to feel insecure. I just want to know which journey puts you in a better position. The journey where instead of facing your insecurity, you just go under the knife and get rid of it and move on about your day and instill this idea that you must change yourself in order to make yourself feel happy and content in the body that you have? Or should we go through the journey, and a real difficult one, of tackling our insecurities, looking at them head on and saying, you know what, I'm not going to let this completely overtake me. I'm not going to let this change my behavior. I'm not going to let this change the way that I love my husband. I would go for option B, and a lot of people go for option A. And if you go for option A, I totally understand why you do that. It's a faster track to get the result that you want. I just don't know that it's as a rewarding track as tackling insecurities.
That is the most common belief amongst plastic surgeons, or do you feel like you're more of a minority of thought in that?
No, you know, I think when I first started out, I was more of a minority of thought. This is my 11th year in practice, and I've always been into natural results. I haven't moved my forehead in 16 years. I have 15 syringes of filler in my face, but you would never know. Big tip, if your surgeon looks like an alien, you're about to look like one too, because that's their aesthetic, right? I do.
And I don't know. To me, you do know. You do know that these things are going on. And what's really interesting, and I think about this a lot, because sometimes you'll watch movies and like period dramas and things like this, and I see a lot of discourse about this, where we're watching period dramas that are like set in the Victorian era or like the colonial ages, and you're looking at women with filler in their lips trying to pretend like they're from this era. You're seeing that their eyebrows do not move. There's no creases in their forehead. When they smile, it's like their lips are pulled so taut that they might pop. And we're doing this in an idea that we're preserving our beauty or we're making our beauty last longer, but it actually takes away your face's ability to express. It's removing beauty, it's removing animation, it's removing emotion from your face. And I can't think that that is a good trade-off, even though in society you may be benefited for making these choices. I can't help but think that in this pursuit of preserving beauty, you're actually erasing it. I'd love to see what your face looks like when it's fully expressive, but you can't move your forehead anymore. And like girls are getting lip flips now, and they can't drink from a straw anymore. The water that they drink is just like pouring out of their mouth. So you're making these trade-offs in the name of appealing to people that actually makes your life worse and makes your face less emotive.
I do feel like a more athletic look is definitely more in now, so I'm hearing a lot more surgeons being vocal about that natural aesthetic, but I do agree with you that it wasn't always that way.
And it's not going to be that way for long, because we go through trends in beauty that circle and, that cycle and circulate throughout all of time. It's at one point trendy to be curvier. Then you want to look like you're almost like a cocaine addict a little bit, or that you like smoke cigarettes every 10 minutes to make yourself look wholly skinny, or a certain nose is in. And then the Barbie movie comes out and people are getting Botox in their traps in order to have Barbie traps and all these different things. Like, if we can acknowledge that beauty is sort of cyclical and we're moving from trend to trend to trend, that means we're going to be in a constant state of body alteration, and it's not sustainable. It's just not, it's not healthy.
I'm curious because we're seeming to be drawing a distinction between whether or not the results are natural or whether or not the results turn out to be what we would, I guess, call botched. I don't know that it changes the root insecurity that leads people to go and seek out plastic surgery. Do you all feel that insecurity plays a super large role in the choice, or you were doing it for yourselves?
Can I jump in there?
Yeah.
So growing up, I was super insecure. I had no curves. I was always made fun of for not having any curves, so that's why I have such an exaggerated shape now. And I always tied my self-worth to how I looked. And I feel like I was a victim of the plastic surgery industry in a way, and beauty standards, and I have to agree on that aspect, yeah.
Insecurity is a vague term. Everybody looks in the mirror and wants something different. You can say, I want a smaller nose, or I want bigger lips, and some girls are like, ew, why? Yours are fine. Or some girls don't like that look. Why do you work out? You obviously wouldn't be super confident have you not. There's a reason why people are spending all this money on Pilates and SoulCycle and all this other stuff. So, it's all insecurity. It's how you go about it. You want to go to the natural route, working out, you want to go plastic, either or.
Some people wear makeup.
Okay. Working out on a daily basis. to, you know, like feed the mind, the body, all these different things, release endorphins, just, you know, it's just beneficial. There's no way where you can twist and change that for it to not be beneficial outside of like exercising until you die, or people who have like exercise anorexia and who are going crazy down that route. Wholly different from receiving a cosmetic procedure that is in no way a health benefit for your body.
People wear shapewear to make themselves, you know, look slimmer, or tuck in that extra roll that you might have after Thanksgiving, you know? So I think insecurities are always gonna have it. My question is, what is considered natural? Because if we keep going down that route of, you know, this is considered natural, and who defines what natural is, right?
I think the way that I define it is that no one would know when you walked in a room that you had anything done at all. No stigmata of plastic surgery. That's how I think over
like
the years.
Stealthy plastic surgery.
Yeah, like did she or didn't she? So I think that, you know, if you think of it as prevention, if you think of it as self-care, if you
maintenance.
Or maintenance, you maintain your car, you maintain your house. You also, if it's important to you, you maintain your appearance.
When I think about it that way, though, in this rule of if you're thinking of something.
And they cut something that she said here, so I'll fill you in. The doctor, Dr. Nazarian, she said, you know, my rule of thumb or my like practice is with clients, if they're thinking about something, you know, more than 3 times a day, if an insecurity is popping into their mind more than 3 times a day, then we can talk about doing something about that. Whatever that choice may be, we can have a conversation about it 3 times a day. Do y'all think about something you're insecure about more than 3 times a day? Of course you do. Of course you do. With the amount of times that we like see our faces on our cell phones and like our Instagram, or we walk past a mirror these days, or we wake up in the morning, we brush our teeth, and we're thinking, oh my gosh, like I have a pimple on my forehead, or I have this scar on my chin, or something like that. That's going to occur to you, you know, probably multiple times a day with how much we see ourselves. We see ourselves far more now than I think we're ever meant to as human beings. We shouldn't be seeing ourselves this much. But that rule is a very dangerous rule, given how common insecurities truly are, and how exacerbated they are by the current state of our society, and how much we're viewing ourselves in social media and this and that. It's just not the best rule, in my opinion.
Something, you know, 3 or more times in a day, maybe you should change it. There are people who
change it.
Well, you should maybe see somebody or see what you can do about creating some sort of difference, alleviating that. We all feel insecurities. I'm pretty sure even now, no matter how much cosmetic surgery you receive, you're thinking of little things you can change about your body constantly. And we live in a world that really emphasizes image. Social media has really proliferated that problem. If everybody was using that sort of metric as a means of change, we would constantly be changing our bodies and faces. And I think it makes us more subservient to societal standards and other people's views than we're subservient to accepting ourselves.
But if you truly accept yourself, then why wouldn't you just accept yourself? Like, why does somebody else changing their face like bother somebody who's happy with themselves?
So I'm not bothered.
Everybody was commenting on her facial expressions like she was just showing face. No, but
by the fact that people have had plastic surgery.
Right.
I am very close to a lot of people who've had plastic surgery. Whether it's a nose job, a boob job, those tend to be the most common in my life. I don't look at the people closest to me and go, but you changed your nose. I don't like that, and now I'm more insecure. However, when I'm in a room and I'm surrounded by like I work with a lot of influencers, and I'll be the only girl who doesn't have a boob job, and it's the same boob job. It's the same look, and everyone has the same nose, and everyone has the same lips. And then you start to sit there and be like, is there something wrong with me? And I've had producers and I've had people tell me, like, oh, if your ears were pinned back, it would be a lot better. If your lips were bigger, it'd be a lot better. When you create a culture where people are constantly jumping on the beauty trend, I think that creates insecurities that wouldn't have otherwise been there. So I have no problem in people getting plastic surgery. I have a problem in a culture that pushes the rhetoric that if you don't get certain things or don't have certain things, that there's something wrong with you.
Exactly.
I want to touch on that because it's about the word create. Really, I think it's take one more step back and look at why these insecurities exist in the first place. The root of that is media, TV shows and models and movies, and comparing literally apples to oranges. Like every single person in the entire universe is uniquely themselves. Did insecurities exist before TVs and these competitions in whatever industry existed? I kind of don't.
I think
yes,
so.
but in
You think about like how life used to be, where you would live in a community of people, and I'm talking pre-social media, pre-smartphone. You live in your community. You maybe have a TV, so like you're seeing the women who live around you. You're reading the newspaper for news, or listening to the radio, or watching TV. You are not getting exposed to nearly and anywhere near the amount of human faces that we are exposed to on a daily basis these days by scrolling on YouTube, watching social media, TikTok, all these different things. Of course, with the more human beings you see, the more insecurity is going to be created because you just have more to compare to. There are so many different points of contact now for seeing a face that doesn't look like yours, or seeing a body that doesn't look like yours, or being sold a new advertisement for another company with a certain model. It's just way more than would have ever been the case. So you can only imagine that naturally insecurity is going to be way on the rise. And with insecurity being way on the rise, there are going to be industries that are ready to exploit that insecurity that are on the rise. So cosmetic surgery exploits people's insecurities. Not always. There are functional reasons for cosmetic surgery and practical reasons and all these different things. But the industry would largely be brought down if people weren't dealing with insecurity at the rate in which we're dealing with it today.
In a very different way. I think it had to do with survival. I think it had to do with family. Yeah, I have this insecurity about my eyes sagging, so I'm gonna pay however many hundreds of dollars to do that, but then it's going to be maintenance. And then am I really hitting the root of the problem, or am I avoiding like what the real root is, which is this kind of need for acceptance?
It's concerning that cosmetic surgeries are normalized amongst young girls.
Yep.
I would consider myself a young girl. I'm 26, but also there's younger.
Girl, back in the day, if you lived in a small town, you had your newspaper and your TV, you would have been seeing like that one bad bitch that lives in town. You'd be like, damn, Susie is so beautiful. She looks like Grace Kelly, or like all these different things. And that was all you would really have to deal with. Now you're seeing Kim Kardashian and Madison Beer and Sabrina Carpenter, like, and every single girl in your town has their own social media, and everybody's watching like who has the most followers, and oh my gosh, she has 600K in a BBL, and oh, she just got like, 1,000 likes on her photo, and she got lip filler. I should get lip filler too. There are just so many different thoughts that we would have never had in the past that now have to circulate through your brain. And instead of looking at those thoughts and thinking like, okay, this should not be a problem that I'm dealing with, I need to just cast that aside, accept myself, we go, oh, maybe I should change my entire face in order to make that thought go away. And it doesn't really make the thought go away. You still have the same thought. You've just altered your physical appearance to make it so you feel better about thinking that thing, I guess.
At the end of the day, what I worry about, like Botox and things that aren't really dramatic, like you can see I have plastic surgery, but the plastic surgery you can't see is what worries me the most. And I'm a little afraid of aging.
Somebody said, ye old baddest maiden, period. That's what it would have been. That's what it would have been. You'd be like, damn, that Lord has a fine wife. She is fine. You wouldn't have to worry that much about all these different women.
I'm not gonna lie. So when I see like celebrities, they're like in their 40s or 50s, but they look 20, 30, do I have to do all of these things and stick needles in my face to maintain my youth? And that's what scares me the most.
So what, if you can share, what surgeries or what procedures did you go through yourself?
Yeah, I had 2 BBLs and 2 breast augmentations, and those are kind of like more dramatic ones, so you can like see that I did it. And I also am very open about it. I think it's very harmful if you try to hide it.
For me, I'm not a big drinker. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. I regularly exercise. My elders who have aged well without plastic surgery, that was the lifestyle they lived. I've met so many young girls who have zero care about the toxic lifestyle they're living, because if I don't age well, I'll just like get it fixed. It does target young girls to not care about consequences because instant gratification, and I'm not saying that's what plastic surgery always is, But I do think that when we already have this culture of instant gratification, it's only amplified by telling them that you can just get whatever fixed later.
For example, on Halloween, there's this little girl, she has to be a toddler, maybe 4 or 5 years old, and she has the little pole for the IV, and she has like a fake, gauze and everything, and she's showing that she got a BBL. Yeah. When I see a little girl who's mimicking someone getting a BBL, I'm like, okay, well, she's 5. What are you doing mimicking a BBL?
She doesn't even know what her body's gonna look like yet. That's really scary.
And even, guess what? The girls in their 20s who are getting this stuff done don't know what your body is going to look like either. Your body goes through phases as you age and grow. And a lot of people call it like your second puberty or whatever, that you like go through puberty in your teens. And then when you're in your mid-20s, your body continues to shift and everything, as your body's preparing for children, physiologically, your face takes on a whole different structure, but people are going under the knife at like 22, have no idea what they're going to look like at 25, 28, 30, 35. Your body's continuously going through these changes, and you just never know what you're going to see. I wish I had pulled up old pictures of myself so that you guys could see what I used to look like when I was like 14, 15, even well into like high school and outside of high school. I looked so different than what I look like now. And some people may say, oh, Alma, like you look conventionally attractive as well. Some people also disagree with that I'm not conventionally attractive or that I have like a weird look to my face or whatever. If you saw what I looked like then, you would have not been seeing somebody who's conventionally attractive at all. 0%. Nobody would have been saying that about me. We'll pull a pic up at a later date because I just don't have them on hand right now. But that's real. And you know what? That's okay. You grow and you shift and you change. And fingers crossed, you become more attractive. But if you don't, like, is the choice to change your body fulfilling?
You have a question for you ladies, right? Because you're very Jessica Rabbit-esque, and I say that in a good way because I love Jessica Rabbit. Like you're both clearly had plastic surgery, and you both have. I actually came out like this at 14. I swore I looked natural. But both of you have mentioned having it young. Do you feel like you were too young when you made the decision?
For me, absolutely, because I started getting work done around like 16, 17.
You were a baby.
Yeah, but the thing was that I was a dancer in clubs. I was looking at other older girls where they had that very va-va-boom body, and I wanted that va-va-boom body too. They had the big boobs, they had they were making all the money. And when I started dancing, I was 18 years old, so I started doing Botox, then I did a nose job, and then I did this. I shouldn't have been thinking about that at 18, Who's to blame for that? That's obviously a different discussion.
When I was 18, I got my first boob job. I was gonna compete in bodybuilding. Fitness was always a passion of mine before getting all the plastic surgery. And I thought I had to get implants to kind of like proportionately even out the rest of my body. I was getting like flat chested from the muscles and the chest days. And honestly, I don't regret anything I've done. I'm very happy and confident in what I've done to my body. I don't think I was too young to make the decision. I've stayed true to how I feel about what I've done and like my own personal decision, but I don't want it to affect young girls, so that's why I remain transparent about everything.
You think about the entrance of social media into civil society, and now I'll scroll through TikTok and it's like, are you a cat girl or a bunny girl? What type of pretty are you? Are you slim bodied? Are you BBL bodied? Do you have A cups? Do you have B cups? And it's just people who are really funneling girls down this path of wanting a specific body type, whatever the body type may be, and trends flow in and out. And then I'm seeing young girls who are saying, I'm going to the clinic to get preventative Botox. It's not that I even have wrinkles now, I want to prevent wrinkles down the line, or I'm getting filler because Kylie Jenner has it, or a ponytail facelift.
I didn't want to say the name.
Yeah, right. Or they're even like, they're risking pulmonary embolism to get a BBL and all these different things, so.
I went to a school that.
Yeah, there's so many different complications too that are coming out about these different procedures, and it's all of them. All of them have, of course, complications that come along with going under the knife, but as well as complications that can follow you outside of having the procedure done. For breast implants, I've seen many women talk about getting something called breast plant illness. When you're putting a foreign body into your own body, your body goes, oh my gosh, what is that? Attack, 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 attack. That's why when you put in breast implants, a lot of them, you create like a tissue film around the breast implant that now exists inside your body, like it encapsulates it, because the body's like, whoa, what is this foreign thing? I need to create something to sort of like shield it away from everything everything else that's going inside of you, they start developing like allergy problems. Suddenly they have intolerances to certain food, and it's because your body's immune system is working so hard to figure out what's going on in your chest because you put something there that it starts to become inflammatory towards other things. So there's a lot of women who deal with breast implant illness. Now they're saying that filler, which many were once told once you put it in your body, oh, the filler goes away in 6 months. You know, your body metabolizes that. It actually, you know, gets rid of the filler. That's why you need to get it redone. They're finding out for a lot of people that's not true, that the filler actually stays in your body. And not only that, it is hydrophilic, which means that filler likes to suck in water, and it actually creates what's called pillow face now, where you're seeing people who had filler and their lips look bigger than they did before, and the cheeks look bigger than they did before, and the filler's moved around because not only is the filler migrating throughout your face where you've placed it, but it is sucking in water and becoming bigger. So in this sort of plea, I guess, to get rid of wrinkles, you're actually creating more. And then women are dealing with this pillow face, going and getting their filler dissolved. And then you've created loose skin because you've filled up your skin with filler and now have deflated it again to dissolve it. Of course, with Botox, you have people getting Botox and, you know, they can't move their forehead anymore, which is just, you know, the natural side effect of something like that. But getting Botox placed in the wrong places and their face doesn't move in the right way anymore, or there's just so many things that can go wrong. Not to say that it always will. I'm sure if you go to a very professional person who does their job and does it correctly, that you won't deal with many of these things. But there's also the side effects like the breast implant illness, or, you know, the pillow face and things that are becoming more and more common and more talked about. And we sort of just, I think, normalize these things in a lot of ways where we're not actually having conversations about the side effects that come from them, or we're not realizing that there's actual side effects that come from these things. What I didn't realize for a long time, I have tattoos. I have them here. When I was a child, I would get hives, right? And that has since gone away. I haven't had hives really in my adulthood all that much, but I noticed when I do have an inflammatory reaction, or I do start getting hives, they can be localized where my tattoo ink was. And I'm like thinking, what the heck is going on there? I've never heard of something like this happening. I start looking into tattoos and I'm like, okay, when you're placing tattoo ink in your body, you're placing a foreign body in your body, and your body is constantly trying to like figure out like, what is this foreign thing that was not there before, and how can I deal with it? And it can create inflammatory responses that are localized to the place where you put the tattoo ink. So think about that with tattoos, with breast implants, with Botox, with filler. Your body knows that there is foreign things within the system, and it is actively trying to deal with those things. Now, how your body is going to deal with it and whether or not it's going to go smoothly or not, I do not know. It's just a risk that people should think about, and it's not often talked about. We're so flippant about these things that it doesn't ever really occur to us that we might be doing something that is damaging to the system that we live within, which is a very fine-tuned one.
We had a lot of very privileged kids, and as soon as they were 18, I know multiple girls that got gifted, what procedure or surgery would you like? And that's insane to me.
As a mom, I'm just gonna say, but we need to teach our girls that your jewelry is your mind. Your jewelry is what you do for other people. It's not what you look like, and if you lose that, then you have, I had a patient actually who told me if I don't have my face, I have nothing. And I was like, well, maybe you should go back to school and find your something and find your purpose, because you can't put all your eggs in the beauty basket. Does that mean that beauty doesn't matter? No, there was a 60-minute special, I swear, 20 years ago that talked about how we are all inherently programmed to appreciate beauty. You know, they brought a teacher in front of a class of kindergarten kids, and she was an actress. She was dressed disheveled, and she gave a lesson to the kindergarten kids. They took the same person backstage, put her in a different outfit, fixed her hair in a ponytail so she looked less disheveled. She went out in the same tone of voice, same everything, gave the same lesson. They asked the students, which teacher did you like better? They said the second one. They said, why? They said, because she's nicer. So we can't deny that beauty matters, and we're programmed to appreciate beauty, but that doesn't mean you put all your eggs in that basket, or that you teach your children to say that if I'm not beautiful in this standard that is current right now in this trend, then I'm worth nothing.
Yeah, I mean, in essence, yeah, I agree with that. I think there's a big difference between like making yourself look less disheveled and getting cosmetic procedures, but still, the point is the same.
I think because I'm 23 and I grew up with it, and I was the youth, you know, in the social media looking at, you know, the Kardashians, and I was young, and I think I'm fine nowadays. Encourage support, encourage acceptance, like things like that, yeah, but you can look, you know, we have mirrors, we have eyes. Like, your mom can tell you you're the most beautiful girl in the world all day long, but if you're not treated like that at school, if you don't feel that way, you can see more attractive people on a daily basis, you can look in the mirror and see what you don't like about yourself. That's all gonna go in one ear, out through the other.
Well, is that an indictment on you and what you should change, or is it an indictment on society? That's the question. We did get a super chat that I'm going to read immediately from Curtis. KD5A says, you are 100% naturally beautiful. Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. And everyone here can call me a simp if they want. I don't give a rat's... If it's the truth, it's the truth, Curtis. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That is very kind. We'll see if people call you a simp in the chat down below. I can only imagine some will.
I keep just going back to this, like, is it a little more heightened with social media? Sure.
Oh, yep, and now the simps are running in. The second you say you don't want to be called something, you can guarantee that's what you're going to be called.
But at the same time, like, a 13-year-old's algorithm isn't only girls with, you know, fillers. Like, and I think what you were saying, it all goes back to the moms. Like, when I was a kid and I would, oh my gosh, that model is so beautiful. My mom, the first thing she'd be like, that girl does not look like that. She has all these fillers, all these face. Like, my mom's best friend was a makeup artist in New York City, and he was like, are you kidding? Like, none of these people look like that in real life. So I was just always well aware of that at a young age, and, you know, having access to fillers, I would see girls, I would be able to spot the filler on a person, you know, or in filters. So I would know that these Instagram models were fake, and there were, you know, if you have Facetune, you know when a girl's Facetune. So it's like, you know it's fake, so I don't understand.
I think
where
a lot
that
of people
comes in.
don't know it's fake.
I think if we're going to judge it based on an issue for young kids in particular, the less that you're able to see the plastic surgery, the more of an issue it becomes, because they're seeing these individuals and thinking nothing has happened, and thinking that this is a beauty standard that this person achieved naturally because they can't really detect it with their eyes. And we sort of, I think, all grew up in an age where we didn't have social media, and then suddenly we did. We have to think about like Gen Alpha, who is growing up in a world right now where social media is the standard. They've never not known the internet. So if you have these imperceivable plastic surgery and cosmetic changes that kids are taking on, they're thinking that's a natural.
I mean, I kind of have. Like, I had Instagram at like 10 years old. Like, I was on the internet, you know, before that.
But you watch the rise of filters, you watch the rise of Facetune, which makes you more attuned to be able to detect these things.
Yeah.
Because filters used to be...
Yeah, I mean, it's just... That's how it's going to be. If you're a young person who, when you were 2 years old, was handed an iPad and you're now like on social media looking through all these different things or on YouTube or whatever, you're not going to be able to have the same radar for catching these fake things that are happening because you didn't get to watch them take place. You know, you're entering an era of celebrity where people are getting these like imperceivable changes to their face and they're going through total glow ups and then not, you know, saying that they've done so naturally. You didn't get to watch the rise of filters, although you now get to experience them and watch all this stuff happen and the face tuning and all that. And there are many who are going to be well aware and be able to have a fine radar to figure out when these things are going on. And there are many who won't. And, you know, a lot of those people who cannot see that might be ushered down the path of cosmetic surgery.
So funny. Like, if we can go back to the dawn of Instagram.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah.
Do you think that us as professionals in plastic surgery, if we put out more informational factoids about how to tell, like, oh, for example, somebody brought up the fitness influencers saying that I did squats, but they really had a BBL. Like, I went on maybe 3 years ago on my social media and said, you guys, if somebody doesn't have a hip dip, they had a BBL.
Yes.
So do you think that as you know, professionals, if we came out, we gave the younger generations the tips to be able to tell someone's had something done, would that be helpful for
sure? I would personally love that.
I have a question for the plastic surgery.
I actually watch a lot of plastic surgeons that do this while they're like analyzing analyze celebrities before and afters and give their estimate as to what procedures have taken place, or they'll talk about the way certain procedures look. And I think, yeah, if that's the world that we're going to exist in, where so many people are getting these things done, then maybe we should be more transparent about what they look like. We should be more transparent about how people are getting these things done, or maybe guessing what they've had done. And it's not an onus on the person. You don't have to come forward and say every single procedure that you've had done, but maybe you don't lie and say that you're natural, so that you dupe people into thinking you have this like beauty that was achieved naturally when it wasn't.
Side, if you're planning on having children, if you have children, what is that conversation about cosmetic surgery going to look like with them if at a young age they come to you and say, I'm really interested in this, or, you know, I'd like to get this procedure done when I'm old enough?
Totally.
I think for me it would be honestly how I would tell anyone, right? This is your decision. I think with the little education that I do know, I would definitely make sure they understand that, you know, there's pros and cons to it, right? You're not gonna just wake up and be totally happy that you did something and that's it, right? There might be, now you see that you're gaining weight, so you're, okay, maybe I'll just do BBL now, you know, or maybe I'll do this, etc. I think it'll be very important to let them make that decision, but give them the best education as you can, and then obviously get a professional that can help you with that. I don't know if I can tell anyone to not do something. I could only give them my advice and my experience, and I think it'll be hypocritical for me to say, hey, listen, you shouldn't do this. I don't agree with it when I was 18, you know, getting a nose job.
Yeah, I mean, I get what she's saying. There is that element of, yeah, I've done it, so I don't want to tell somebody not to do it. But there is also this sort of like cautionary tale that you can now exist as in bestow that upon your children, of saying, yeah, you know what, I did do that. I did get a boob job. I did do this. I did fix my nose. I did that. But I wouldn't wish that for you, and here's why. And that doesn't have to be you telling them what to do. It can just be, it's my recommendation. Here's my story. Here's what I went through, and here's what I regret.
I think I have a shitty answer, but I don't really care. I think I'm just gonna give them the honest feedback I would give anybody. Like, I'm sorry, I'm sure my daughter is gonna be the most beautiful girl in the world, whatever. If her nose is really bad and she's really insecure about it at a young age, she comes to me and we have the financial means to do so, I probably would be the parent, like, hey girl, like, get your nose done for graduation before you.
If her nose is really bad, what does that mean? And I can't help but think about how unhealthy this is to be the mother figure who is meant to like protect and guard your child, especially from unhealthy thoughts and unhealthy like pathways of thinking about yourself. To be the one who says, yeah, your nose is bad, let's go get it fixed. That's crazy to me. That's crazy. You know, the mom is supposed to be the one you go to when you're feeling these crazy things and you're so insecure, and she talks you off the ledge and says, you know what, these feelings that you have are totally valid, and I understand why you're feeling these things, and we often want to sit down and listen to our insecurities, but can I show you a different route? Can I show you, a different way to maybe think about these things? And yeah, it's going to be a struggle to combat them and overcome them, but we can overcome it, and I'm your mom, and I'm going to help you do that. But to be like, yeah, your nose is bad. What do you want for your 18th birthday? A rhinoplasty? It's crazy.
I go to college. I know that sounds really shitty.
No,
but like,
it doesn't. It's
that's
real.
a shitty feeling, like looking in the mirror and like crying all the time about your face. You don't like your nose. You don't like whatever it is. Like, I know a girl who got a chin implant.
So, and then Dr. Nazarian, Sheila, she's like, no, that's a very real thing. That's not the worst thing to say about your daughter. But was just talking about how we should instill in people that their mind is their jewelry. So what is it? And I understand that beauty matters alongside these things, but if the mind is your jewelry, why can't we focus real hardcore on that priority point?
Changed her whole face, like crazy. Had such more, yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously, am I gonna be like, listen, you're doing a big thing. We're gonna get educated. We're going to the best doctors. We're gonna figure it out. And if I have the financial means to do so correctly, hell yeah.
I think also what's the purpose you're doing it for, who you're doing it for, because people end up doing plastic surgery for boys. So I think it's very important to ask too, what's the reason for you doing it?
And we do that, and it's very important for the surgeon to also ask. I have it on my questionnaire, my intake form. Has anyone told you should do this?
Yeah.
Has anyone made you feel bad about this area? Mental health questions. I think, as it is for a mom to ask her child.
And then it's like, okay, how many people are being real about those questions? surgeons. How many women have you met that have gotten, you know, like a rhinoplasty or a lip flip or all these different things, and you ask them why they got it, and they said, I did it for myself. And you know damn well that that is not correct. You know they didn't do it for themselves. You know they did it because of outside reasons or externalized pressure, or they got bullied or something like this. Very rarely are these decisions made for the self. And I think we can admit that. If you were living in an area where you felt like you were never being judged, or we didn't have social media, or you weren't being seen by so many people and feeling this pressure of being judged, whether you are or not, you wouldn't be receiving these cosmetic surgeries. In fact, if somebody had not bestowed that idea upon you, you probably wouldn't be at the plastic surgeon's office right now. So how can somebody truly answer, I'm doing this for me, and it's just like my own thought to go under the knife and have bone shaved off of my nose? It's probably not for you.
It's also very important as us as the gatekeepers to also make sure they're doing it for the right reasons.
Honestly, I didn't have too much to add to the topic because I agree with both of them.
That face was fitting. I just saw that a photo of me popped up on the screen. The face is fitting. It's probably not for you.
In the same vein, and I don't plan to have kids, but I do plan to be a role model for younger girls, nieces, nephews, things like, nieces. And I would just honestly do the same thing that Giselle would, just educate them. I wouldn't judge them. I would teach them about their self-worth, doing things a natural way first, and, you know, like just...
Letting that be your default.
Yeah, exactly, not just going straight to surgery.
Yeah.
And I think they cut Dr. Sheila's answer to that because she spoke about her own daughters, I believe, his daughters that she has. And she said, well, my daughters would never, like, they would not want to go down the route of plastic surgery because, you know, that's what they've learned at home. And that's just not the mindset that they have towards beauty and growth and being natural and all these different things. She said she wouldn't judge them if they were going down that route, but that's not the way that they were taught, which is very interesting to be somebody who's a plastic surgeon and is going around reinforcing the idea that people need to change their insecurities while instilling in your daughters that that's something that they don't need to do. So how do those two things, you know, exist healthily in the same realm and without, you know, not necessarily being on the same vibe?
We are trending towards a future where natural beauty will no longer exist.
I'm thinking way ahead into the future. I'm thinking social media is going to grow quite a bit. Our beauty trends are going to change. AI is going to integrate with medicine, and that's going to change beauty and how easy it is to go and receive these surgeries. So, yeah, in a lot of ways, I think the trend is definitely not towards what's natural. As human civilization is trending altogether towards what's unnatural, and I think that will apply to beauty as well. It makes me sad to think that we live in a society that doesn't want to see people age normally. And I say that as somebody who deals with insecurities myself. I don't know that when I'm 50, like what my face is going to look like and how I'm going to look in the mirror and how I'm going to perceive myself. But I would hope that I've fortified this sort of philosophical idea that I have about beauty so much that I won't feel the need to change myself in any way. Young people, old people, everybody's going to be engaging in this practice, even men, as we're seeing them sort of get into plastic surgery now as well. It's strange to me to think that we're not going to see what people were actually meant to look like.
Do you ever feel tempted to get a procedure done yourself with all this pressure and societal pressure?
Not with all the thought that I've put into it, but I can say from the moment I was able to perceive myself and perceive insecurity, I felt it. I can't tell you how many times when I was a teenager I thought, oh, let's just get a rhinoplasty. Let's just slope the nose a little bit and fix it.
But a little button.
Yeah, the more I've thought about it though, the more I'm thinking, I really want to know what I look like when I'm 70, 80, and like what I was supposed to look like. And I want to experience life and experience the wear and tear that puts on the body. So
it is something you kind of actively have to think about. At least for me, I actively have to think about that. Sometimes I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like, oh yeah, why not get a boob job? Why not do that? And you're like, no, you cannot think like that. That's not the way you're supposed to be thinking. It's not, to me, a very, very unhealthy thought to be having about yourself, and it is never for yourself. It is never, ever, ever for yourself. I'm sorry to say that, and many people may disagree with me on that. It's just not. We're not getting these cosmetics procedures in order to do something that is just for ourselves and is not about the way we function in society or how people view us or to be attractive to the opposite sex or to somebody who you have a crush on. There's just so many other factors that are taking place, and I hope that I have the resilience to just never want to do that and not to give in to something that I don't think is the best for us
I don't think so.
For me, like when COVID hit and we had to shut down our offices for 2 months and I wasn't doing things to myself, I was looking in the mirror, I was like, holy shit, is that what I actually look like? Right. I ran to the office, grabbed a couple boxes of filler, brought it home and started shooting myself up in the face. I'm like, restore, restore, restore. Right. So I think it's really honest, you know, to say that you don't know how you're gonna perceive yourself when you're 50. You're probably still gonna be gorgeous and great, but you know, you never know. And I think it's good to leave that door open. You know, it's armamentarium in a toolbox, but for
I want to say for the record though, the door is closed. The door is closed. Of course, you can never predict for the future of like what's going to happen. Anything could happen between now and 50. But philosophically, the door is closed. There's no leaving room for these things.
For me, I think that what's going to happen is it's going to become so accessible. Imagine you go to Rite Aid, and there's a machine that scans your face, does an ultrasound, knows exactly the level of your thickness of your skin, knows where your muscles are. It generates a hyaluronic acid / Botox mask with, you know, little, not needles in it, but the hyaluronic acid is shaped as needles. You put it on your face and you press. You've just delivered Botox to your face, you've delivered hyaluronic acid filler to your face, and it's gonna become that accessible.
Wait, is this something you know is coming?
I think that this is where
She already planned it.
You know what I mean?
Can I invest?
Didn't that intrigue you a little bit? So I think when it becomes that easy and affordable and accessible, then yeah, people are gonna say, heck, why not? Why shouldn't I do a little skin booster?
Yeah. I completely understand, like I use a collagen booster in my coffee. I'm going to continue drinking my collagen. I also take a calcium supplement because I know I'll stop building reserves in a few years, right? Surgery is much more my concern. I have a very Slavic nose, and it's very specific in my head. I hated it for the longest time. I wanted the little button Western European nose. It's what I wanted. And it took me a long time to be like, no, this is the same nose that like my grandparent or my grandpa came over with from the Czech Republic. And I think we start losing that, and I think we start losing a lot of individual cultural beauty in order to fit whatever aesthetic is being pushed.
I always think about too, like let's say you get your nose, we'll just use an example of nose, that's the one we're sticking with, and you get your nose done or whatever, and then you have a child. And your child has the genetics that you ran from, and your child has the nose that you decided to get a rhinoplasty for. What sort of message are you giving to your child that you felt the need to change a nose because you thought it was an ugly feature on your face, and now your child has your genetics, which you're supposed to say are beautiful and like you're sort of created in my image with the genes that I gave you. How do you tackle that message? And are you not just inherently sending down an insecurity to your child who now has the feature that you decided to go under the knife for?
I think, again, we're talking about two different things. You're talking about changing beauty standards. I'm talking about staying youthful looking like you, but looking your best for as long as possible.
But that doesn't concern me, that doesn't concern me in terms of losing natural beauty, because to me, natural beauty a lot is a lot of whatever your ethnic group's beauty is, like beauty within your ethnic features, because that includes body types, right? When we start pushing people to change, you're erasing the beauty that can be found within their natural phenotypical expression.
Just so you know, though, in the plastic surgery world, we have books on ethnic noses. We have books on ethnic breath. Like, we have books on this stuff to keep people within their...
To try and mitigate the erasure kind of thing?
No, it's we don't even think of it as erasure, but just like respecting that person's anatomy and phenotype and just optimizing it for them.
I think especially...
And that's meant to like sort of quell the unrest surrounding getting rid of ethnic features, but it still changes the feature nonetheless. And they do have those like the books for ethnic noses, because just certain noses don't look good on certain faces, and of people with like a different like ethnic look to their face, you can't just go and like slap on a Barbie nose and have it look great on your face. So that's another reason why that's
in an economy, people can't even afford groceries right now. Some people can't afford to put gas in their car. I don't think we're literally anywhere near where everyone is going to have lip filler and have a nose job. I don't see everybody, running to get lip filler like where I'm from. It's just because everybody.
But it is getting more accessible.
Accessible, yes, but I don't think natural beauty is gonna go away 100%. So perfect example, yes, that sounds really cool, what you were saying. Like the cheap, you scan your face, whatever, but at the end of the day, it's always gonna be like the cheaper, riskier alternative. I've had friends be like, oh my God, my friend's becoming an NP, like she'll do your things for free, and I'm like, I'm good.
But that's your standard, right?
Yeah.
I love it.
But I've said the same thing about, say,
more
electronic vehicles. People thought, oh, the rich are only going to have those. It's never going to trickle down to normal people. Or the iPhone, smartphones. People thought only rich people would have access to those. But as we develop,
it'll be more accessible, but I don't think everyone's going to do it. It's always more annoying to get things done. It's more effort to get things done than it is to not, and most people are lazy and most people don't want to spend the money.
I feel like if we
I think I'm thinking like way, way, way ahead. When I'm thinking about natural beauty and cosmetic surgery and things, I'm thinking like you could go sit in a little AI booth, have it scan your face. You could pick out the facial features that you want to change. Click your button or whatever, it knocks you out, it does the procedure, and then you get out and go. That's how far ahead into the future I'm thinking about these alterations. And of course it's going to exist on like a spectrum, and that example is not a specific example, it's just, a random one, but that's what I'm thinking.
look at something like braces, right? Braces are mostly aesthetic. And at one point, nobody got braces. Now everyone's like, I personally haven't had braces. So like purely by luck, I never needed them.
It's now so normal.
It's now so normal though that people are very surprised when I'm like, nope, didn't have them. And I feel like we are moving in that direction. Like when I say I don't have tattoos, a lot of people are really surprised. I don't actually have my ears pierced. A lot of people are really surprised. All of these things, all these alterations, they do become so normal. And I'm not obviously not condemning anyone with tattoos or piercings or with plastic surgery for that matter.
I think there's too many to go down that rabbit hole. I don't think insurance is going to cover like Botox, and like I think there's too many elements to that. Like braces, insurance came in and helped with that. There's a lot of other things.
I think they're not thinking far enough into the future about how easily it's going to be. Like we're using examples of like filler and Botox. These might not even be within the realm of cosmetic surgery 50 years down the line once we've made advancements. When we're talking about the accessibility, we're going to be talking about very qualified plastic surgeons like Sheila who are giving these procedures to normal people. And it's not necessarily that all natural beauty is going to be erased and nobody's going to have the face that they were born with. It's just to say, is the rate of intervention when it comes to beauty going to be higher than those 100%. Staying natural?
So how do you all feel about the fact that a lot of people are going through procedures to specifically like get rid of certain ethnic features they have, or to maybe even look like another race?
As an Asian woman, I'm naturally thin, I have no curves like I mentioned before, and obviously this beauty standard of having curves comes from African American and Spanish culture, and I admit it and I appreciate it. I don't think it's a bad thing, and I don't think it's inherently bad. I think it's just different.
Right, and it's not that she's trying to look black, it just so happens to be a feature that is more prominent within that community.
Yeah, a lot of people would talk about white supremacy or Eurocentrism, but with BBL culture now, like you said, that's Latin and African American. A lot of people are going in to get plastic surgery on their eyes to look more East Asian. With noses, we typically tend to fall into this more Eurocentric standard. But also a good plastic surgeon, in my opinion, would look at your ethnic features and would think about preserving them and would be more focused on an idea of symmetry than erasing what is something that is typical for your ethnicity.
I totally agree with you, and I will tell you, I don't speak for all plastic surgeons, but we have books on how to preserve ethnic beauty. Asian grandparents, when there's an Asian baby, will massage their nose to try to give them a bridge. A lot of Asian women will go in and actually have cartilage inserted to give them a bridge. Where do you...
Dude, some of the beauty standards in like Asian countries are wild, and how like forceful they are about wanting you to look a certain way is crazy. Especially when it comes to, a lot of people in America are talking about like race, that, colorism, that. You want to experience colorism? Go to like Korea and experience the colorism that exists there, and like people who are actively trying to like bleach their skin to look whiter, because that's just the prevailing narrative as far as what's beautiful.
Draw the line.
I know about like the eyelid thing.
The double eyelids.
Yeah.
And sometimes I've heard from Asian patients like, I can't wear glasses because I have no bridge. Like it'll literally slide off. Like if I don't do something, I'm gonna have to go get an eye surgery instead to get.
again, functional argument for an aesthetic world that we're living in.
LASIK, so then I won't need the glasses anymore. So again, I think we shouldn't just say line in the sand no, and we shouldn't say line in the sand yes, and it's really more nuanced again.
I was made fun of for like not being able to see, open your eyes, and now everyone's like, oh, I'm getting the fox eye, I'm getting this, and they're not admitting where it actually comes from. And that's why I like to give credit where credit is due.
Does that bother you?
People who grew up and they were like bullied for freckles, and now like freckles are so in, and there's makeup products now that you can get to like spray freckles on your face. Like these things go in and out, and some of us find ourselves in the unfortunate position of being bullied for certain features that we have, and suddenly they're back in style. When I was a kid and I went to school with natural hair, sometimes people said, oh my gosh, you look like a boy, or that feature doesn't look good on you, or something like that. And then you get older and natural hair is in, and people love like a big beautiful afro or whatever. It's just like these things shift and change or whatever. So we shouldn't move and adapt to what haters and ops are saying about the way we look. We should learn to accept ourselves. And if our look comes into style, cool, so be it. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We shouldn't make ourselves so susceptible to the commentary of other people. And I know that's so much easier said than done, obviously. You hear somebody say something negative about you, that lives within you somewhere, unless you can tackle it and move on from it. And a lot of people find it very hard to do those things, or society at large treats them differently because of the way they look, and that cannot be ignored. But do we want to then give them the upper hand by, instead of accepting ourselves, changing ourselves? Society can bully us in any different direction, and that is just the way of the world. It's how things go. You don't want to be the one who's just constantly tripping over yourself to follow what other people think you should look like.
You, by the way, that people are...
Oh yeah, I'm like, just call it what it is.
If you won't acknowledge where things come from, like, and you're just gonna hop on any trend that follows, like, oh my God, like, those type of eyes are in, I'm going on, oh my God, like, big butts are in, I'm gonna go on that, like, then you're just dumb. Like, you have to follow what you like more. Like, for some reason, I've never been inclined to get a boob job. A lot of my friends have one. It's just like, that's not the look I like. I think we are in a generation where everyone's like so coddled and like so nervous. Like, oh my God, I have to look this way. And it's like, you don't look that way. So if you either change it when you get older, or you don't, I don't know. That just sounds like a little harsh.
So what would you say motivated you towards your procedures?
Sorry, I had to do it. I had to ask her, because how is there a distinction between the person who follows trends and whatever she received as plastic surgery? There was some sort of trend followed. Either way, you recognized something that you felt you didn't have, and you decided to get it.
I've just gotten my lips done and I mean, just because I wanted bigger lips, I had like no upper lip before. Even as a kid, when I was like playing with my mom, like our family's makeup, like my cousins and my cousin would be like, damn, you have no upper lip. And like, I'm Hispanic, I'm Cuban and Dominican, and I have like no lips, you know what I mean? Which is not really the standard. Who doesn't want some?
So there is a trend within your culture, and a trend that you were not part of or participating in, and you decided to participate in the trend.
Face symmetry, who doesn't want an upper lip? Like little things like that. I mean, I'm a little overdue for Botox. I go into tanning beds a little too much.
Please don't do
And
that.
just because
I know, I'm sorry, everyone hates me for it, but
I don't say just because you do something as well doesn't mean that you're trying to mimic another culture as well.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
Back in the day, having big breasts was our Caucasian thing, right? It was more we were the booty, Caucasian was more getting the boobs, the Pamela Anderson boobs. And just because you get lips, it doesn't mean that you're trying to be black or any of those, I think, stereotypes. And if you get your nose done as someone who's Puerto Rican, and they look at me and they're like, okay, well, what you didn't like your nose before? No, because I just wanted it done.
I don't know why
Now, if
it's
your
even come to
intention
that.
is to look like another race, I think that's a different conversation.
yeah, and I just think that's weird. I don't think anybody's really looking in the mirror being like, I'm doing this because I want to look like a different race. It just happens to be a feature that is
Ollie London is. Or I should say, Ollie London was. He's one of the few that was like transracial, wanted to be Korean or whatever because he loved K-pop or something like that. Crazy.
usually stigmatized towards a certain
Some people
race.
are, though. Some people are trying to look like elves.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or like women with a straight mouth.
I love the way I look.
I mean, what is the difference? I mean, we can say that one is like more outlandish than the other, but what is the difference between somebody wanting a specific rhinoplasty and another person, like, I don't know, wanting to make their ears pointy or something like that? You're still going under the knife to change your face. Is one more reasonable than the other? I don't necessarily know at this point, since we're all just in the boat of getting these things done. If it's something you like, I guess it's something you like.
Will the agreeers please step forward?
I came to this country when I was 7 on the back of a pickup truck. My parents wouldn't let me wax my mustache, shave my legs. They're like, who are you shaving your legs for? I was super skinny. I think I was like 90 pounds. Didn't have my first real boyfriend until probably med school. It was a journey for me. I didn't get my confidence because of how I look. I had my confidence because of what my mom told me. My mom always told me, you're so beautiful, you're so smart, you have so much to offer. And so I think I took a journey like this to loving how I look.
How much of like your procedures do you feel makes you love the way you look?
It doesn't matter as much to me because I have done so many other things that I gain confidence from. My confidence comes from my core values and on the inside, but I'm able to also be artistic. And I love to sculpt in the past, and I love to draw in the past, and now I get to do that on humans and make them feel great.
So what procedures have you done on yourself?
So the first 2 procedures that I started with were Botox and filler. Filler in my temples, under eyes, laugh lines, lips, marionette lines, and my entire jawline. Botox and my bunny lines here, 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 and my masseters, because I also get lockjaw if I don't, because I clench all the time.
I would love to get some things done, have a little more money in the bank. Obviously, nobody loves themselves 100% when they look in the mirror. I mean, maybe you do, but.
Because you only had 1 procedure, right? It was just the lips.
Yeah, just
How
the
much do
lips,
you
and
think
I've had Botox. Well, Botox,
Okay.
it literally makes your face look so much clear. I don't know how to explain it, so.
Like filters you.
Yeah, literally. I mean, it goes away, so I don't have it right now, and then all my hair is fake. Something happened in college, and literally all my hair fell out, and it was like, my hair was like so much of my beauty. It was like my identity, and I spend so much money on like K-tips.
Do you think that you would be sitting here right now as an agreeer, I love the way I look, if you didn't have these procedures done?
No.
I personally have
That's very sad to think that she couldn't agree with the fact that she loves herself had she not gotten these procedures done. I feel like that's something to tackle.
never been more confident in my entire life. And it's a little bit of a problematic statement because technically it is a mental issue that maybe I could have gone to therapy for and not done the bodily changes. It would be irresponsible for me not to acknowledge that. But at the end of the day, I make money off my looks, and I've always loved the fake, exaggerated look. It's always what I wanted and admired for myself. I'm very happy with how I look now.
I also recognize that a lot of my stance comes from a place of privilege, because like I said, never had to have braces. Like I didn't really have to do a lot to be conventionally passing as attractive. You know what I mean? Like I just kind of existed, and I was like, ah, thanks guys.
Fair enough. Yeah, I hesitated walking up because I feel like if I was going to put it into perfect words, it's that I fall in and out in love with the way that I look on any given day.
Yeah.
And I think everybody experiences that.
Yeah.
But I've been sort of training my brain as I'm developing, growing into myself to care more about being healthy and having health. I feel like that exudes beauty in a lot of different ways. And knowing that the moments where you do not love yourself are not really founded in reality. There's just something that we're creating for ourselves, or society is creating, or social media is creating, that don't need to be listened to as much as we're listening to it currently. So that's why I walked forward, because I do feel at the end of the day it's all love, and like the whispers that we get that aren't love are not to be listened to.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, are we supposed to always be happy all the time with the way that we look? I don't know that we're supposed to. So is that what we're supposed to be chasing? Because if you're going to be chasing that feeling of being happy with the way you look all the time, girl, you're going to be running marathons for the rest of your life. That is a lot to chase. To me, it's just not a priority in life. And I hope it's not a priority when I'm older. You know, when I'm 70, I hope I will have lived damn near enough life to where I don't give a shit what I look like. Are you kidding? You think I'm going to be at 70 years old? If I am 70 years old and still being knocked over the head with insecurity over having wrinkles on my face, I failed in some way of experiencing enough life, developing myself as a person to where, like, you cannot still be held by the chains of looking at yourself in that way when you are at that big age. I hope I'm not dealing with that.
I agree with her.
It's a spectrum every day, all the time, throughout each day. I'm extremely judgmental on myself and just the entire world, and my worst critic. I'm super perfectionist, even though I absolutely know that there is no such thing as perfection. I can't say that I look at myself and I'm like, yes, no. I'm always nitpicking at myself on a mental, physical, emotional aspect. I definitely think that I put judgment on the way I look from unresolved trauma that happened, and it's this weird mirroring effect that I have, but I still haven't like had a day where it's like 100%, I love myself 100%. I love that I know that I'm in control of my progress and of the fact that life is just a process.
I love that she said that, because I do want to ask the question, and we asked it already about being happy. Are you supposed to like love 100% of everything that's going on? When I think about like loving 100% of everything that's going on in my life, what's the point of progressing? What's the point of like moving through processes and doing things to make yourself better if you're just like 100%, I'm a 10 out of 10, I love everything in my life? Yeah, I mean, like, wouldn't we all love to feel that way, I guess? But I can't help but think that's like a little bit of a crush to lean on. Life is not all about like happiness and 100% love in oneself. It's a journey. It ebbs and flows. You have great moments, you have bad moments, and the bad moments are what make true moments and good moments exist. There's no happiness without suffering. So I don't know that the goal is to like always love yourself 100% of the time. And you can love yourself without being fully comfortable with everything that exists within yourself or within the way you look. And you can just acknowledge that, oh yeah, I'm feeling a little insecure today. That's part of the human experience. And aren't we lucky to be going through this human experience? Aren't I lucky to be alive and feeling something that, yeah, maybe is feeling a little bit negative in the moment, but it's a feeling. It's something that I'm experiencing, and that's cool because we're all here to experience that. And if you didn't know insecurity, you wouldn't know like the beauty of the love that you develop for yourself on the other end of it.
My whole family we had like big chins, right? So that was one of the things, like one of the first things like I kind of shaved down because we just all have the chin. I've done a facelift, I've done my nose, I've done my lips, obviously, my forehead. Done my body, obviously.
Gotcha.
And then I do maintenance, right? So I do my Botox, I do my fillers. There's times where I'm like, yeah, I'm a bad bitch. And then there's times where I'm like, oh my God, I feel too fat. You know, I've struggled with weight all my life. But I don't think we'll get the stuff that we had done if we were truly, truly happy with what we saw in the mirror. That's just my opinion.
Do you feel like though, because of the procedures that you did, that you do love the way you look more?
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's the reason why we do our teeth and we do those things, because we didn't like what we saw, whether you want more pronounced nose or whatever you want. If you're going to use those things to change yourself, to be happy and to love yourself, do it, but also know that, and I'm only talking about visually, because if we go down the mental health thing, then that's like a totally different topic. But visually, I feel like if we were happy or really loved the way we look, we wouldn't do the things that we've done.
Men are more attracted to natural beauty.
You can see me in the back going, thinking about this one. I struggled with this prompt quite a bit, and I'll tell you why in a moment.
I do Instagram, social media, and adult content creation, and I find that my look is very niche. I don't appeal to the masses, for sure. I get a lot of comments trolling me, disgusting BBL, go get a refund, you look like you're wearing a diaper type stuff. So I feel like there are men that still, most of the men do appreciate natural beauties. Even if it's like, they don't know that they got work done too.
That's why I'm here.
That's I was same thing. I'll let you go first.
So I think men have no clue what's natural and what's not. I was going to do a show for E, and for a year I operated on this African-American, very well-known human, and on her social media, literally everybody's like, that's what a natural beauty looks like, and there's not 1 inch on her body that I did not operate on. I think they appreciate a natural result. But they don't want your skin falling off your skeleton. They don't want your boobs down to here. And sometimes, honestly, they don't even notice that. They're just happy to be intimate.
Yeah, I was thinking something very similar to you, that a lot of men will say, oh, I love natural, look at Kendall Jenner. And then it's just like, okay, well, wait a second, you don't know exactly what natural is. So I wanted to stay back and say, well, maybe I disagree because their perception of natural beauty isn't exactly in tune. But I also feel like if you were dating a guy and had no procedures done, he may be more attracted to that reality than he is attracted to dating a woman who has had procedures done. So you might look like Megan Fox, and that will get you a lot of male attention. But I think when you're dating a man, as soon as he finds out, oh, you've had a rhinoplasty, you've had a boob job, you've had this, he's thinking, what do you actually look like? What am I getting here? You know, if we procreate and have a child, am I actually getting the girl who looks like Megan Fox, or am I gonna get a child who looks totally different? And I've heard a lot of men now complain about false advertising. So they're trending towards the natural, even though if aesthetically it may not be as pleasing to them.
Yeah, I feel like, okay, let's be real. If a guy sees a pretty woman, a guy sees a pretty woman. If a guy's attracted to a woman, he's attracted to a woman. I don't think most men are thinking like, did she get a rhinoplasty? Is her forehead moving? Does she have Botox? Did she get filler at any point? But I think if you were to give a man an option of two women in similar, beauty standard, a similar level of beauty, and you said one of these women achieved this beauty through plastic surgery, the other woman achieved this naturally, they're going to go towards the woman who achieved it naturally for a multitude of reasons, one of which I mentioned, which is this idea of false advertising or wanting to have a child that actually has the genetics, at our base level, we are mammals, we are existing within, the realm of natural selection, and that's actively working on us all the time, and we're trying to make these genetic choices as we're picking mates and picking people to create children with, and cosmetic surgery factors into that. I think most men want somebody who, if they can achieve it, is beautiful, but also, hasn't gone under the knife. Now, is that to say that if you go get cosmetic surgery, you will not get men or men will not be attracted to you? No, of course not. A woman is a woman to a lot of men, and especially if you're beautiful, regardless of how you got there, you will get male attention. It's just to say, if we did that experiment, I feel like men would pick the woman who has not had intervention. And, still they're making that choice, even though a lot of them have no idea what Botox looks like, what filler looks like, what a rhinoplasty looks like, what a boob job looks like.
You're nodding your head. Is this something you experienced?
Oh yeah,
personally?
I get comments like that all the time. Like, oh, your kids aren't gonna have that booty, or like your kids aren't gonna look like you. I mean, I haven't touched my face yet.
Yeah.
But if I do, if I have kids, they won't look like that.
Hi, buddies.
Hello.
What's up?
A lot of men like natural bodies and natural girls who don't get any work done because they are thinking about, what about my kids? Can I bring them around my parents? How are people going to perceive me bringing someone who has a freaking 44-inch hips and butt?
How has it impacted your personal dating life?
It affects it because they only see that, right? And obviously they can see my social media and they'll see, okay, well, she's done like Playboy, right? So you have some legs all open for that, right? Other men is gonna see that and then, judge me, or that's not mine, that's not exclusive to me. If I go
Also, whether we like it or not, men are placing women in categories. And if you're getting these very dramatic cosmetic procedures, double D boob jobs, BBLs, all these different things, you do present a certain image to men. And while it may be an attractive image, there's also little micro judgments that are being made, or really large, just straight up judgments that are being made of the value that you present to them. I think a lot of men interpret many plastic surgeries as being like, oh, you're easier because you're probably so insecure that if I give you attention, you're going to go for me or whatever. And I've actively heard men say this. Now, these are not good men by any means, not people that you would want to seek out for a relationship anyways, but this is, calculations that are being made simply based off of the way you look. And she mentions, does he want to take you home to your parents? There's a lot of different things that, the first impression can be altered when it comes to getting these cosmetic surgeries. And all these little judgments are taking place behind the scenes, and you would just never fully know.
Go on a date, I know I have to be very conscious with what I wear. Because if I wear something like this, his mind is like, how am I gonna devour her? It's not like, okay, what are we gonna do on our second date?
I've dated multiple people. They're like, they start dating me and then, but you'd be so much better blonde. And I know that's not a procedure or surgery, but the last person I dated, he would tell me all the time how I needed a boob job or I needed my butt done.
Who are y'all dating? Who? He said, what? The door. I'd be like, the door. Who?
Like I needed these things. It was like, yeah, you're just a plain Jane without it. Like this is gross. And I'm like, why are you dating me? Right?
You want to say something? I can
go.
feel it.
I think men think with two heads, and the top of their head, this one wants the natural girl. And I think really to touch on your point, like for a guy to make a girl his wife, he has to be sexually attracted to her, and that's where the other head comes in. And they don't gravitate towards a natural girl. I hate to bring them up, but the Jenner sisters, it's like one of them, everybody thinks of plastic surgery when the other one has just as much, but one just looks a little more exaggerated than the other. I think men don't know what natural looks like. I think, if you get filler, if you get Botox to a normal degree, I don't think they'll care that much. They say they do, but at the end of the day, I feel like the guys who complain about that stuff on these podcasts or things like that, they only surround themselves with girls with BBLs and all this stuff. And
I don't know. When I'm thinking about men, I'm thinking about like good men of like moral fortitude, more of character. I'm not thinking about the men that they're talking about, like the guys on Fresh and Fit podcast, or like a boy that you date who tells you to get a boob job, because that is just that is not somebody that I would ever entertain, period, let alone in a relationship. So when I'm thinking of like men with discernment.
Say they do, and you have guys commenting on everything. How do they end up with that video in the first place?
Period.
You know what I mean? Like,
great point.
They're more upset that they know they could never get with you.
Exactly. I feel like it's a more like anger thing.
Think of the nicest guy who's a generally good guy, who's not judging you based off your BBL or something like that. Is it a bonus to have dated somebody who has had plastic surgery? He may be attracted, he may date, he may even marry, but I don't ever think a guy is thinking, hell yeah, she got a rhinoplasty, or like, the boob job is really what cemented this.
And I should have said, I don't think a good man is ever thinking those things. There are plenty of men who think those things. I should have clarified.
Relationship.
Well, like,
It makes her hotter.
Yeah, if it makes you more attractive. Like, I don't think a guy cares about like, literally he wants the surgery. He just wants the outcome of the surgery,
I mean, I completely agree with you in terms of the outcome. Like, I'm thinking of a very specific couple. They were very happy prior to her having a boob job, and that's fine. But then when she was like, hey, I'm gonna do that, he was like, perfect. Can I help pick the size? What is it gonna feel like? This is so exciting. And like, he loved her before, but it definitely was a bonus for him, where he was like, I love you doing what you're doing, as long as I get to touch them.
And that's why I say I disagree too, because look at you can look at the statistics with Pornhub and all these things. It's usually married men who are getting caught, and those are the ones who are with the natural non-surged woman, but then they're doing what they're doing, to the BBL girl.
Yeah, I think that's true. But also, with the world that we're living in now, there's a distinction, I think, to be drawn between what people watch as far as pornography and who they engage with in real life. Men will watch some crazy stuff and be getting off to some crazy stuff on the internet, but would never, ever, ever, ever engage in that way in real life. So we have to bear that in mind too. But it is an interesting point that you will seek out BBL women, on your internet, search history, but you claim to not want that in real life.
Celebrities should always be transparent about their cosmetic procedures.
I think because they're celebrities and in the spotlight and very much influencing a wide variety of ages and people, that they need to be just honest about what they're doing and why, because they're putting an example on the culture and especially young people. That's not to say if the cosmetic procedure is something that was like reconstructive or internal and it's not like an aesthetic thing that was like, they were in an accident or, something like the young child she talked about with the labia. That doesn't need to be spoken about. That's super private and totally unnecessary, I think, unless it's like an actual interview that's highlighting that for whatever reason to empower people on that subject.
When I hear should, I think of the very philosophical should, right? Like, I'm kind of taking the ethical stance where I'm like, I think that it is the proper ethics for people who are in a position to influence the masses to be honest and open when they know that not being could be detrimental. Now, if they don't, do I think they're the worst person in the world? No. We can't force celebrities just because you're a celebrity. They don't technically owe us anything.
When I see celebrities and they're on the older side, or even vice versa, when they have body work done, I question whether or not they got that through hard work or they're just genetically like that, and what do I have to do to achieve that? And I start internalizing things and my insecurities start coming out. I'm like, why can't I look like that? I've been hip thrusting 500 pounds in the gym and I don't have a booty like Cardi B. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you can work so hard, but your genetics only take you so far. And then with aging, like Botox and things like that, I'll start thinking, oh my gosh, I look so ugly, there's something wrong with me because I'm not aging gracefully. Nowadays, like seeing celebrities, if they talk talk about what Botox or things that they've gotten done, and it can help me understand, oh, this is what they did, and I could just pay to play kind of thing instead of have to wonder what's wrong with my genetic.
And then just always think, like, you know, some of the most beautiful people that you will ever see are plagued by insecurity. It is something that they cannot run from. Some of the prettiest women, the most handsome men wake up every morning and agonize over the way that they look. And we get these beautiful, you know, Getty images of them on our Twitter feed or Instagram or whatever. And we don't see that. We don't see what's working behind the scenes. It's working in their own minds. And then we terrorize ourselves with insecurity when, you know, they very well may be terrorized by their own. And if they're not, and they're just fully confident and they're beautiful people and they're beautiful and they love the way that they look and they're totally happy with themselves, that's cool too. But we don't constantly have to be filling our minds with these things. And I say to somebody who does it all the time, sometimes you'll see a video of the most gorgeous human being. Every time I see a video or a picture of a Nakiai, oh my goodness, does it strike something in my stomach. I'm like, you could not have made a more beautiful human. But I don't need to then turn that on myself and feel some sort of hatred. I think like beauty can exist in so many different forms and in so many different ways, and it can have nothing to do with aesthetic and everything to do with what's in your mind or how your body works and the way you function and all these different things. And we should emphasize that more and not make someone else's beauty an attack on our own. It doesn't have to be that. Just be happy. Be happy that that person, you know, won this genetic lottery and they get to experience this life of being so gorgeous, even though, you know, it can be hard to not have that for yourself.
Liposuction, for example, I had an eating disorder growing up, and that's kind of what fueled my social media originally. And a lot of girls are starving themselves to get the tiniest waist possible because they think that's how they did it.
Also, like, if we're all gonna assume that you have it done, then why lie? Like, who cares?
Yep.
We got chairs.
People and patients in particular have a right to privacy and confidentiality, so there's no onus on you to tell us exactly what's been done, even if you're a celebrity. My preference is that you don't lie, that you don't say, I am natural, or I haven't undergone any cosmetic surgeries. My preference is also that you don't try to sell me something, like the Kardashians were doing the tummy teas, and then you have fitness influencers, as you were talking about, selling you glute programs and all this stuff. So
Or J-Lo with her olive oil.
Exactly. You don't have to tell me all the different things you got done. That is between you and your doctor. Just don't try to sell me this false reality that you're natural.
Yes.
She said that's between me and my patient.
No, because it's true. I mean, there's actual confidentiality laws. I mean, we can't out anyone, and I know a lot of celebrities have been brought up here. None of us know if they've had anything done. None of us know. I mean, we can say we think we know, but we don't know. But again, I've treated tons of normal people and tons of celebrities, and it is 100% private, and I would never obligate them to speak up about their own personal procedures that they've had done. It's actually law that they have the right to that privacy.
And I think the only people that you can hold accountable is yourself. To blame a celebrity and have the sole responsibility on a celebrity to out themselves and make you feel secure and make sure and expose themselves for you. How can you even ask that?
I have a question for you, actually, as a plastic surgeon, because I go on YouTube and I see these very viral videos of plastic surgeons breaking down celebrity faces and letting the public know what they've got done. Do you think that that's ethical, given that they are part of that relationship?
I think it's dumb. If you never want to have a celebrity patient, go ahead and do that. I was on a panel with someone who has 1.2 million followers on an Instagram account where all they're doing is outing celebrities, and I can guarantee you they have 0 celebrity patients. I think it's very entertaining. I think everyone wants the tea and everyone wants to know what the scoop is, but as a person...
See, it does show you a little bit where the motivation lies. The motivation does, at least it seems for her, lies in getting more patients and specifically celebrity patients. So it's not necessarily an ethical question of whether or not they should do it. It's a question as to whether or not this will bring me more celebrity patients or less.
And actually treating these people, I would never do that. And that's why, again, I brought up, like, we don't know what these people have had done. So let's, you know, we can say, you know, we've been influenced by them, and certainly they've set some beauty trends, but, you know, no.
I don't want to say it's necessarily like I look at a celebrity online and like, oh my God, how do I get that done? Like, if I don't look like them, I'm so insecure. That's not where it comes from. But I just think like I said, I'm a weirdly open book, and I'm a little maybe too forward sometimes. Like, I'll look at somebody and one of my friends, I'm like, oh my God, did you get your teeth done? And like, I know that's like
Same.
super, you shouldn't be doing that, but I'm just like, oh, they look good. Like, where? Like,
Yeah.
send me the tea, bestie. Like, that's just how I am. But I don't think, should they be obligated to? Like, obviously have to? No.
No.
But should you? Like, yeah, why lie?
So with that, everyone, thank you for your honesty. Thank you for sharing today.
Thanks, Cot. Thank you for moderating. Yeah, what an interesting episode to be a part of. So many different personalities, different viewpoints, different subject matters and topics. It was very interesting. I don't know what I thought I was going to be walking into. I did wonder who the plastic surgeon was going to be for the episode because, of course, we are in LA. So I'm like, okay, I'm thinking of like YouTube plastic surgeons. As I said, I've watched before and I've seen them sort of do their thing where they break down celebrity faces. But it ended up being Shayla, which we go way back. So that was interesting to be able to have somebody who you know be on the opposite side. And I did want my friend Risa to be a part of the show because she's actually on the pro plastic surgery side of things. And you guys know we have a second channel, but maybe someday down the line we'll debate that on our own channel and go back and forth on that. We are going to get into your super chats and read messages from you guys today. From Yojo, just a super chat, no message. I greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much for your support. Our next one here. Oh, Yojo, you got your message in. Says, love you both and your content. Happy Labor Day. Happy Labor Day, everybody. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day off if you have the day off and maybe you're chilling, hanging out with family, doing something fun, cool. Celtic Blacksmith says, such a much needed treat to see you again, darling. I haven't had a cigarette in 2 days now and I'm starting to twitch. No. I hear quitting cigarettes is really tough. I used to work for a doctor before I started doing everything that I do now. And he said it takes the average patient, should I say this? I don't want to deter you, but 11 tries to quit cigarettes. So which try are you on, Celtic? And is it the first? And if it's the first and you've made it 2 days, congratulations. I hope you make it much further. You don't need it. You know, your body knows you don't need it, although it's screaming at you to do it. Timothy W. says, I've already watched this video. And Mamala 5678 with that Nigerian eloquence popped off. From my totally unbiased opinion. Best person there. Thank you. Also says, also, hope the roller coaster comes to a stop for your grandmother, Amala. Both of you are in my prayers. Thank you so much, Timothy. That is so sweet. Yeah, my grandmother's had a hard time, man. Hard time. As I said, she had a surgery that was wholly unrelated to everything. It was going really well, and she was in recovery for that surgery. And on day 2 of her recovery from that surgery, had a medical emergency that was wholly unrelated to it, and a very serious medical emergency that ended up in a second emergency surgery. And then there were complications from that, and she's been dealing with that, and it's gone from, ICU to PCU and all these different things. But she's fighting like nobody's business. And it seems, I don't want to speak too soon, but that she is on the uptrend now. It's been a lot of this, and now we're going back up, and I hope we stay on that trajectory. So thank you so much for your thoughts on that. Appreciate it. Hannah Semenak says, hey, Amala, I'm a new sub and I love your content. Thank you so much. You are glowing. Could you do a makeup routine? I know that isn't your normal content, but you're stunning. I'm looking forward to your future videos. Maybe I'll do a short one of these days. You know how people on TikTok do their makeup and they talk about news stories or their opinions on things at the same time? Maybe we could do some iteration of that so the girlies can see the makeup routine. And hopefully you guys can also get some news or a story out of it. Justin sent a super chat, no message. Appreciate it. Shelly Bolton says, aging gracefully. I agree 100%. I am now in my 50s and I think of wrinkles and grays as things I earned. That said, to each their own. Yeah, 100%. You know how, obviously if you chop down a tree or you look at the rings on the tree, each ring is the year that the tree has been alive, and that's how we age, things like that. I think about wrinkles in the very same way. It's just society's conditioned us to take these as very negative things that have shown up on our face that we need to get rid of, that we need to, wipe away and blur and all these different things. But that's an achievement. I don't know. It's a set of time that your skin has been here, your face has been here, and it smiles and frowns and crying and all these different things. And I think it's an honor to be able to carry those things. AVJR says, happy Labor Day, Amala. You always look stunning. Thank you. I hope you're enjoying this day and with your loved ones. Thank you for being you. Peace. Appreciate that. I hope you guys are enjoying your Labor Day to all my family's really back in Florida right now, dealing with everything that's happening there. So I might be back there actually in a few days. So I make no promises when it comes to this live show. We're going to try to keep it going this week as long as we possibly can. Diva Dawn says, Amala, if you got beef with Jubilee, then we got beef with Jubilee. All militia mount up, we ride at dawn. You know, they have to edit things out of the episode to make it run smoothly and to cut down for time, so I totally understand it. And they edited out the comments of other people too. But to edit out the comment where I say, and I'm wearing makeup right now, because you know damn well people are going to be like, oh, you're supporting natural, but you're wearing makeup? Did me dirty. Did me a little dirty. Nicodemus, 1984, says, good evening. Why did the cosmetic surgeon refuse to play cards? Because he was tired of dealing with faces. Wow, okay, good. Sorry, not so easy as a French to come up with a good joke in English. Thanks and cheers, Nicodemus. Nonetheless, you did it. That was a good. Taylor would have really appreciated that joke. So I'm sorry that Taylor's not here to bask in the glory of that one. Timothy W. says, a lot of these people probably support more diversity as well, but wouldn't the very act of cosmetic surgery trends be antithetical to that? Good point. You'd think that there would be people who, you know, supposedly support diversity and want to see things in all their forms, but are relegating themselves to a few of them by engaging in these cosmetic practices. Karina says, hi, Amala, starting college soon and hoping to find like-minded friends. I'm shy and worried about finding right-leaning people near Seattle. Advice. Ooh, I have to think about that. I mean, I would go into things, finding your hobbies and running with your hobbies first. If politics is a hobby, maybe finding clubs that surround those things. But outside of that, like if you have a certain sports hobby or a craft or something that you do outside that's extracurricular, outside of school, going in that direction and then meeting people within those circles, building friends who may or may not be right or left leaning. And then, you know, the other stuff comes, your values and stuff come through conversation. And sometimes you'll find people who you vibe with on that level and sometimes you don't. It's good to have a wide swath, I think, of friends who are friends with you for different reasons. And then maybe hopefully you can get a couple who are like the all-encompassing friends, the besties. So yeah, hobbies. I know it's if you're shy, it's so difficult to do things like that. But yeah, what do we do for a shy person? I consider myself pretty shy. I'm never going into a situation like full of strangers and being super duper comfortable with that. And I'm most certainly not extroverted in those situations. I would go and experience clubs and things, because if you're a little bit of a wallflower, you can sort of sit on the outskirts a bit and experience things until you're comfortable to maybe move forward and usher yourself forward a little bit, but also challenge yourself, you know, go out and say, I'm gonna talk to a few people when I go to this, you know, meeting on Saturday or this like volleyball event or whatever, and see how it goes. Curtis says, we already read Curtis. Thank you, Curtis, for your super chat in the middle of the show. Really appreciate that. Timothy W. is back again. I'm 18, but I look very young and have conventional beauty. However, I have an extremely healthy lifestyle and work hard to maintain my body naturally. Follow Mother Nature's God's way, and beauty will follow. Timothy, you make a good point there. And it was a point that was also expressed in the video that a lot of people view cosmetic surgery as their go-to for altering themselves and maybe aren't leading the healthiest lifestyles. And my boyfriend actually made this point, and it was a point that, you know, it maybe comes to mind, but you don't think about that much. And he's like, there's nothing that makes you more attractive than leading a healthy lifestyle and being in a healthy body. And that is achievable naturally. You do not have to go and go under the knife in order to achieve these things. And that is something that, like, if you're feeling out of two in life, you work out every day, give your body good sustenance, eat a healthy diet, drink lots of water, hydrate. Your body will exude the beauty that you pour into it. Doesn't matter what you look like. It's going to help you so much. It's going to make you not only look better, but feel better naturally through the natural processes that are occurring in the body when you treat it well. So give yourself the best bet with your insecurities and with your body by leading a healthy lifestyle. Timothy, that's a great point. Bad News Badger says, when archaeologists in 500 years are digging the ruins of LA, the biggest question is not how did the people look back then, because they'd be digging up the same fake plastic smiles we look at today. Yeah, you have to think. I wonder, that's a kind of morbid thought. but how does filler decompose in the body? I don't want to think about that for too long. Just a thought. Very true, though. Arceon says, Amala, I'm someone with an asymmetrical jawline. It's a birth defect that I've had since I was a child. Should I get corrective jaw surgery? I don't know. I'm not the person to necessarily consult for that. I would ask yourself, is it creating functional health problems for you? Is this something that is, affecting the way that your jaw moves, the way you eat food, the way your teeth work? Is it becoming a functional problem? Then maybe consult somebody about what your options are, but I would try to go for the least invasive thing first and then work your way down the line. If it's simply an aesthetic thing and it's something that you can't deal with or you feel a deep insecurity towards, of course, I'm going to advocate trying to tackle that naturally and not going under the knife. But as I said at the beginning, I understand the practicality, the practical reasons that people go forward with plastic surgery, and I understand the insecurity-driven reasons why people undergo plastic surgery. So it's all about what you want to do. I just want to offer my perspective, and you can think on it. Chicken Pork Adobo says, I'm saving money to try cosmetic hair transplant surgery because my crown hair is losing more and more hair. Welcome back, Amala. You look amazing. Yeah, I said this in the video. A lot of men are deciding to go get plastic surgery. You got men lengthening their legs through plastic surgery. They're going to Turkey and getting the hair transplants. Veneers are really big with both men and women. There's a lot of things happening. Steroid usage, which is not necessarily cosmetic surgery, but has a cosmetic effect, is going up with men. A lot of different strokes for different folks these days. Shelly Bolton says, I think mine was $4.99, just didn't know the protocol. We read it anyways, Shelly, don't worry, LOL. And so she sent her message again about now that being in her 50s, she loves her wrinkles and her grays. She's earned them, which is a beautiful message and worth reading twice. So I appreciate that. Legitly Spelunking says there are so many better ways to improve your appearance, diet and exercise, dress and accessorizing, hairstyles, photo angles. Own your uniqueness 100% and a double 100% on the diet and exercise. And of course, you have accessories and dressing and stuff outside of that. I think a lot can be changed with the first two, the diet, the exercise. And then if you still don't feel fulfilled in the way you look after that, there's so many different ways to learn how to dress for your body type or how to accentuate certain features that you are bestowed with. And yeah, there's just so many options before going to the surgeon. Otaku69 says, said it before and I'll say it again, Amala, a lot of these problems wouldn't be nowhere near where it is if it weren't for social media. It needs regulation. The glorification of celebrities isn't helping. Yeah, I guess I'm pretty liberty forward when it comes to social media. I don't know that it needs to be regulated as far as aesthetics and things like that. If I was going to advocate for regulation on that, which I think is sort of around the bend, it'd be people who are lying. So like people who are doing the tummy teas and the workout programs, but they're not disclosing their BBL and their tummy tucks and things like that. They should be slapped with the hammer. The hammer should be brought down for false advertising on that. And I guess that's a strong form of regulation that I feel like could change things in a lot of ways. But yeah, other than that, it becomes our self-responsibility and the responsibility of parents with children to sort of regulate what's happening online and what they're viewing. Kwazakule Mafeka says, quote, the more comfortable a society is, the more retarded it becomes, end quote. Base Quasi. I'm sorry, Amala. I gotta tell it as it is. Also, no simping from me. All right. No, he's not on the simp train on today's show. Let's see. The more comfortable a society is, the more retarded it becomes. I have to think on that, but it does seems pretty true. Seems pretty true. Naylor says, I speak for the men. We like the real thing. We'd rather have Amazon than Temu. Oh my goodness. I will leave that where it is. I think a lot of the men watching right now, you were in the comments saying that you agree, you prefer a natural beauty, but you do prefer beauty. Of course, Kwazakule Mafeka says, perfect book for this episode, Psycho-Cybernetics. I've never heard of that book. I'll have to look it up. Lone Soldier, oh my gosh, sorry, Zingetsu? hope I said your name right. I apologize. I have a friend. I took her to Jamaica before she had her ass done. Since she had it, I haven't taken her to the corner store. Nature is beautiful. Damn. She got her ass done and now you won't even take her to the corner store? Wow. That is tragic. You know, BBLs are in. I was flying out of Miami's airport, MIA, I believe the airport is, and I saw many a woman in a wheelchair after that damn BBL. And BBLs are dangerous. I think they're one of the most dangerous cosmetic procedures you can receive because what's happening is you're taking fat from portions of your body and then injecting that fat into your butt. And what could happen if the injector is moving that fat in the improper place, it can end up in a vein or major artery and, you know, create an embolism. And embolisms are no fun. In fact, they'll kill you. So that's not great, is it? And yeah, you'll have women who get a BBL and they have an amazing butt, right? And they have the Cardi B butt or the Nicki Minaj butt, and then boom, they drop dead. Is that worth it? Probably not. Aaron N says, I had a few insecurities about my body when I was in my early 20s. I feel if I had gotten surgeries, it would have robbed me from the growth of overcoming those insecurities and the added confidence. Yeah. Have you ever seen like just a person, doesn't matter man or woman, and they're not particularly, I don't know, conventionally attractive. And then you just like hear them speak or you see their vibe or like the energy, the aura that they bring to the function. And you're like, damn, that person is so attractive. And you know, they're probably dealing with their own insecurities, but it's something that they've tackled and they've become so comfortable with themselves that they just exude comfort. It makes you attracted to them. Maybe they become like a magnetic force because of the work that they've done on themselves. But if they listened to every single insecurity and they're like, oh, okay, I'll get the rhinoplasty, I'll get my boobs and I'll get that, then you sort of lead with that. And it does sort of lead with the message that you're not necessarily comfortable with yourself. And now I don't, if you know how comfortable I feel, like there's not a lot of confidence being exuded in those choices. And we're all on that journey of like acceptance and confidence and learning who we are and being like unabashedly ourselves. And that's okay. You know, we don't have to be there today, but when you get there, I bet that's an amazing feeling. And you can rob yourself of that feeling, as Aaron said, of, you know, by deciding to go under the knife and not choosing to stick it out and see it through. You got to see it through, my boy. You must see it through. Timothy W. says, why do people not work on Labor Day? Shouldn't it be called No Labor Day? If I was in charge of the calendar, people would work longer on Labor Day. Oh my gosh. Well, we're not putting him in office. Timothy, let these people have their day off. What are you doing trying to make them work longer on Labor Day? Celtic Blacksmith says, first try was done for me when I went to jail in 2017. This is try number 3. If I get it this time, it means I'm way above average, right? Right? Yeah, Celtic, you know, if this is your third try, quitting smokes, and you make it happen, you are above average. You are above the average smoke cessation period. And you know what? For that, you should feel proud and let that motivate you to go further than many have before on your third try, quitting cigs. LA Native says, if I have fake legs and I want to sell you shoes, do I have to tell you about my lost leg first? Not necessarily. I don't think you do. If you have fake legs and you're trying to sell me a leg day program, however, you're gonna have to tell me that you have fake legs. That'd be pretty fucked up if you have a whole ass prosthetic leg and you're trying to sell me like, you know, a leg day program. That's what I'm talking about, LA Native. But shoes are shoes. The shoes are the shoes no matter what you got in the shoes. Lillian says, hi, Amala. I'm 23 and I've been watching for 3 years. I run a slow fashion seamstress business in Montana and love watching your content when I sew. And your business is plain to the ridge. Love your takes. And you too, Taylor. Taylor is not here, but he can probably hear this. I think he's watching right now. Lillian, thank you so much. And I'll have to look up your little seamstress business that you have going on. I was watching, of course, I've been in the hospital, you know, looking out for my grandma or whatever, and there were these old ladies in the hospital, and one of them was just like sewing and crocheting and knitting and all these different things. And I'm like, damn, that's a lost skill. It's a skill that I don't have. I should learn how to do that. So I commend you for knowing how to do that. Kwazakule Mafeka says, a person who only treats the physical has not treated their whole selves. It may not be mainstream, but you're more than a physical being. Hashtag base Quasi. Quasi, you're always coming in with the good takes. Something to think about, to pontificate upon, okay? Yeah, you're more than the physical. You really are. And hopefully we can all realize that about ourselves. And if we don't feel fulfilled in the physical, we can feel fulfilled in the other ways, in other ways. LA Native, so there must have been a lot of depressed and suicidal people before any of these new technology procedures. You know, one might think that, but actually depression and suicide seems to be on the uptrend as we're getting all these new technological procedures. Why might that be? Because they're probably a sign of an unhealthy society, and we shouldn't be doing them in the first place. But here we are, and they're actually breeding more anxiety, more suicidal ideation, and more depression. How about that? Timothy W. says, would you work on a day called Relaxation Day? Exactly. Timothy, I love that you feel strongly about the name Labor Day, and you are now launching a crusade to have the name changed or have people work more on Labor Day. And you know what? It's an interesting hill to die on, but it's a hill nonetheless. And I wish you luck on your journey towards Relaxation Day or towards having people work more on Labor Day, and we'll see how that goes for you. That was our last super chat on Labor Day. Guys, thank you so much for watching the show today. Let me know your thoughts on all the different topics we discussed in today's episode, and let me know how you feel. If you disagree with anything I said in this video, I encourage healthy debate on this channel, so do get out, but do so respectfully. And if you like this video, like, subscribe, click the notification bell to be notified every single time I'm live, which is typically Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern. But, you know, I've got some family stuff going on, so we don't know about that, but you're still going to have videos. In fact, tomorrow's video is about Star Wars The Acolyte. The lead actress Amanda Stenberg has responded to the show being canceled and not receiving a second season on Disney+. What does she have to say? She's going to blame you racist bigots. And do you feel like a racist bigot if you didn't like Star Wars The Acolyte? I guess you are one, according to Amanda Stenberg. So we'll respond to that tomorrow, and we'll catch you live on Wednesday, guys. Thank you so much for watching. One last super chat from our Linda, who says, hello from Greece. Get a personality and you're golden. Was that, I can't tell if that's a dig or if you're giving general advice for people to get a personality and that will make them golden. I'm going to take it as the second one. It's advice. Guys, thank you so much for watching. And yes, get a personality and you're golden. I can't wink. Do you guys notice that? That's why I have to turn my head and pretend like I'm not blinking both eyes. All right, guys. Bye. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.